800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Yes, I may have discovered the late October surprise, which insiders believe will be vindication for Donald J. Trump. So I want to share these details. I believe this will be a bombshell. And I want to share with you something. Now, first of all, I talk about bias by omission. So I will say that I do believe two things. That anybody who knew about this purposely did not really report on it because it's too big, too significant, and too detailed to just, if you knew about this, and there were many people in the news, especially in New York, who had to have known about this, and they just, bias by omission, never reported on it. It was reported on it, so I'll give credit to where credit's due. CNN did report on the basics of this, as did Newsweek and some others, but again, buried. I will tell you that for my purposes, this was a little reported situation that happened in a courtroom in New York before a 5-judge panel. And it happened amid what? It was a late week thing. And it also, because remember Friday, things happened. But I will tell you this as well. It happened as we were talking about major news breaking, major storms as the Hurricane Helene was barreling toward and striking, of course, our 6 southern states, including Florida, which is now again battered by Milton. But let me take you to what is going on here. Prosecutors with the office of Letitia James, remember her? New York Attorney General's office. Whew! They were put on the hot seat. Let me set it up, Dan, because Dan Borowski is awesome and found all of the actual. Dan is going to bring you into this courtroom. Wait till you hear this. So put on the hot seat while appearing before a panel of judges.
Tish James is back. Look at that.
Yes, this is the New York State Appeals Court reviewing the case against former President Donald J. Trump. Remember, Judge Arthur Engoron back in February slapped Trump with that nearly $500 million penalty in the civil fraud judgment against Trump, as well as the Trump Organization associates. So they were found liable by Judge Engoron amid those allegations. I just want to update you, just to remind you of these alleged misleading lenders, misleading insurance companies to obtain favorable terms. So this all began, remember, with a lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James. She's the one. She'd investigated Trump's organization for years and years, spent a lot of time, a lot of taxpayer dollars bringing the lawsuit against him. Finally, in the fall of 2022, okay? Trump, of course, his attorneys, of course, many of you crying foul, calling the lawsuit and nearly $500 million in financial penalties as a form of election interference. So remember, I had told you at the time, I said, I believe that this will be appealed and I believe it will be overturned because even though we know that in Manhattan and New York, there are a lot of very biased judges, remember that New York, I wish I had known about this when I interviewed Representative Elise Stefanik, because remember, she's the one who wanted Engoron, as I call him, Judge Engoron, to be censured because of this. So I really am remiss in not asking her about this. But let's move on. So the lawyers did appeal the ruling, of course, to New York's Intermediate Appellate Court. So these judges, this 5-panel of judges, they're not all in cahoots with the far left's judges that we've seen in, unfortunately, D.C. and New York City. And so the appeal attorneys for Trump, they have argued in part the size of these penalties, that this was draconian, and that some of the allegations brought against Trump were outside the state's statute of limitation, meaning they should have never been brought in the first place. So Dan has pulled the audio, and you're going to hear these judges.
It's
right?
fascinating. It really is.
So let's start with the first one.
Yeah, because it's right to your point about it being immense and troubling the judgment here, and a judge himself, an appellate judge, calling it out as concerning. Take a listen.
The immense penalty in this case is troubling. So how do you tether the amount that was assessed by Supreme Court to the harm that was caused here, where the parties left these transactions happy about how things went down?
Well, disgorgement, Your Honor, looks at taking the gain away from the wrongdoer. And although this is a large number, it's a large number for a couple reasons. One, because there was a lot of fraud.
So in this, these are appellate court judges. You're in the courtroom. This is actual courtroom audio. And what's happening is you see these justices really questioning and pressing Letitia James' deputies here in court on the law that Letitia James used to bring the lawsuit in the first place against Trump, stating it hardly seems to justify bringing an action to protect Deutsche Bank against Trump, which is what you have here. Talking about sophisticated players in which, asking the question, did anybody lose money? I want to go to this next one where the justice actually interrupts. So here's an attorney. This is a deputy, not just any ordinary attorney. These are deputies representing the state attorney general. And you hear one of the justices, they become a little frustrated here, actually interrupting.
So I believe it's the Deputy Solicitor General, Judith Vale.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the speaker is. Take a listen.
May it please the court, Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's office. All of the defendants repeatedly violated...
Ms. Vale, can you identify any previous case in which the Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction that was between equally sophisticated partners, where the supposed victim had the ability and legal obligation to discover the allegedly misrepresented matters by conducting its own due diligence, where the supposed wrongdoer advised the supposed victim through written disclaimers to conduct its own due diligence and to draw its own conclusions, where the alleged misrepresentation almost entirely concerned inherently subjective valuations of properties and businesses.
Yes.
And where the victim never complained about any fraud in the transactional losses from it. Because I've gone through the cases which you've cited, and all of them always involved the consumer protection aspect. It involved protection of the market.
Several responses.
And I want to add to his question, and little to no impact on the public marketplace.
Well,
That's another
maybe
justice.
I'll take that first, Your Honor.
Woo!
Yeah.
So I am hearing this. I read the court records and I read the transcript. For me, thank you, Dan, for finding the audio, because hearing it is so much more powerful because I'm reading, the court transcript. But the first justice you hear is Justice David Friedman, at which point when I was reading it, I'm going, go David, go David. But in truth, these lawyers, are they not asking good questions? And the truth is, Trump's attorneys made similar arguments throughout the entire proceedings during his trial. Back in, it was November of 2023, they were arguing there was no basis for him to face penalties because nobody was harmed by this situation, by his financial documents. And his lawyers had argued in court that Trump had never instructed anybody to, quote unquote, inflate his assets value, and that any discrepancies in those financial records, should have been flagged by the outside accountants who helped prepare the statements. And remember, we had talked about this, that many times, that they even have in their packet, that they have at the end in the little fine print with the asterisk that says, you are required, please do your own homework and your own due diligence, yada, 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 in the fine print, but talking about no victims. And so Vale, you hear her there. She's one of Letitia James' deputies there, and she was arguing on behalf of James' office that the statute used in bringing the suit against Trump actually does not require any proof. And that, these banks like Deutsche Bank, she claims they were harmed by the former president misstating his financial statements. But they go on to look at the evidence, and the Trump team saying, wait a minute, no, they actually testified to the contrary of that. And so that's huge. Let's get to I think the last clip you have. Is that right? That it's
essentially the appeals court judges saying this could be potentially considered a misuse of power by Tish James. Sorry.
To Justice Moulton's point about line drawing, because I do think that is very important in this case. You know the history of this statute. It's passed under then AG Javits, and then was really amplified by AG Lefkowitz over the years. And when I went back and read the bill jackets, the common thread was always we need greater power. The AG needs greater powers as the people's lawyer to protect consumers, civil rights, and the environment. And so again, with that sort of historical backdrop to this law, how do we draw a line or at least put up some guardrails to know when the AG is operating well within her admittedly broad sphere of 6312, and when she is going into an area that wasn't intended for her jurisdiction?
So what is going on here is that the tables are being turned on Letitia James and team here, and that by the end of this proceeding, reportedly, they realized that, in fact, this is historic, that you've never heard of a case such as this being brought, that because it's history making and because it's potential abuse or misuse of power, would these attorneys themselves or would the AG's office themselves face some kind of sanction? And can you only imagine the embarrassment, the public embarrassment? I suggest, please, justices, if you're hearing me, Game of Thrones. These people, don't make them do everything but they should walk through the streets of New York. Shame. Or not New York. Let's say Western Pennsylvania. Butler, Pennsylvania. Walk them through there.
Shame.
Yes. Shame. And
Shame.
And go more on to all of them.
Shame.
Yes. Shame. This is, remember, one of several pending legal matters against Trump, as he is obviously running for re-election for the presidency of the United States of America. He has vowed to take the lawsuit from James all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that this 5-judge panel poking holes in this is enough. And we see the truth now. Let me now weave this in. Remember that just yesterday or the day before, we know that Trump announced that he's going to do this stadium tour across, Pennsylvania, New York. But when is Trump appearing in court at Madison Square Garden? Well, they could do that. That would be pretty awesome. Right? So Madison Square Garden is the 27th. When did this happen? Do you know that what Dan is playing happened in a courtroom on Thursday, September 26th?
What?
Yes.
What?
Thursday, September 26th. When are they expected to issue their decision? Within a month of September 26th, which puts us right in line. So let's say they deliver it the 25th or the 20th. Trump knows this is coming, and I believe this will be yes. This is a celebration in New York, in your face. This New York appellate court is expected to issue this decision a month from September 26th. Would it be Friday, September 25th? It lines up right before Election Day, November 5th. This is huge. And then even if they appeal, will it be appealed to a higher court? I seriously doubt it. I believe this is the late October bombshell that the Trump team that is rumored, because I kept hearing these rumors, and when I go to these Trump Force 47, sometimes there are biggity bigs, and they're like, just wait for it, Dawn. This is huge. And I swear to you, none of them told me. It was my husband, Larry Menti. I have to give him credit. He says, Dawn, did you know they were in court in late September? And I said, no, I did not know this. Obviously, storm coverage. So I started looking up all of the court proceedings here we are today. Your thoughts on this?
My thoughts real quick. If
Yes.
this is indeed the late October surprise that you teased here, where they're going to essentially overturn this and call out Tish James as coming after Trump for political reasons, I mean, that has a lot of implications, I would think, on the election for undecided voters who are thinking, hell, we have a party here who has just been proven to be
Yes.
holding a opposing presidential candidate, trying to hold him through the law or persecute him, and it's been proven. That's pretty big stuff. And
It's weaponization of government,
so essentially
right?
you're saying what's going to be at the Madison Square Garden then is a celebration of an impending decision, you would think, right?
I would think so. And just from multiple justices here, and you hear them chiming in throughout, and just from the way that they're looking at this, they are incredulous. They can't believe, and you hear it. This could be historic, and then turning the tables, and then you hear hubbub. Well,
Please
because
support Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's
Yeah,
office.
I'm
All of the defendants repeatedly
Ms.
violated.
Vale, can you identify any previous case in which the Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction?
So this is, the law matters. And this is where the media, the way this was reported, the way that this was carried out in the headlines, I'm going beyond weaponization of government, political persecution, personal persecution. This was darn torture. And will then Trump file a lawsuit and say, hey, I had to pay all these attorneys? You know what I mean? I think you have a pretty good countersuit to say, this was torture, persecution, not prosecution, a misuse. Talk about a misuse of taxpayers' dollars. Oh, my goodness. So when you, around the corner, you're going to hear from, this is an influencer on TikTok who had said that I believe is saying that he was in the courtroom, witnessed this, his take. You're going to hear that. I want to hear from you, 855-839-1210, the number to call. But we have a great guest coming up at 10:30. So much in store, but yes, it is a rocky comeback, isn't it? Is it not? Happy Friday. Be right back.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I get those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Gather your family and friends for the Buddy Walk and Family Fun Day on Sunday, October 20th at Lincoln Financial Field. Let's celebrate individuals with Down syndrome and have a fun morning. Proceeds benefit CHOP's Trisomy 21 program and the National Down Syndrome Society. Learn more at buddywalk.chop.edu.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. The NFL season is flying by, but you still have time to start the season with a big return on FanDuel. In partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook, you'll get started with $300 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. You can build a same-game parlay for the upcoming Eagles-Cleveland game. Anytime touchdown, A.J. Brown coming back, you got to go with that. Over rushing yards, Saquon Barkley. Over passing yards, Jalen Hurts. Do that and you win. FanDuel.com/Dom is the way to go to make every moment more. FanDuel/Dom, D-O-M. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't miss a special edition of the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday, October 12th at noon. Get the latest on important issues that affect you. The Labor and Energy Show at a special time, this Saturday at noon on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Got a roofing problem? Don't let it ruin your day.
Emmons Roofing and Siding offers professional roofing services, from repairs to complete lifetime warranted replacements.
And you can trust our experienced team to keep your home safe and secure. And we can even handle insurance claims for you.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Hey, Ambler. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Follow us anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
So back to this developing story, and I also want to say this explains a lot that I know J.D. Vance had put out on social media at some point that, you know, he felt the Supreme Court, and there were others, court watchers, experts who had said the Supreme Court was leaving a gap in its schedule, because remember they just started October 7th with their new schedule starting up to deal with, quote, Trump-related challenges this term. And so that a lot of court watchers, former prosecutors, etc. I want to point something out to you, and that is, before I go with something like this, I'm very careful about it. So even though my husband Larry had said there was something in court, did you know about it? And then Larry said, yeah, even I think Elon Musk had retweeted some influencer. So that's where it started for me. And this was last night after David's game, and then I had to make them dinner. They were hungry, and you know what I mean? No, don't even. That's a whole nother thing. I was all upset about that. So by the time I really started looking at it, like 4 o'clock this morning, I'm going, what is this? I'm not going to report on some influence. I don't know who this guy is. I guess, what does he have, 20 million followers? And then Elon Musk
I told you that beforehand.
It?
So his video has that many views.
Well, it's because Elon.
Yeah, his followers are 280,000.
So, but I'm never going to, I'm never going to report something to you based on some guy on TikTok or social media, whatever. And so it wasn't until this morning and in between, before the news and in between, then finally I did find the actual court document and started trying to go through it. And then it wasn't until 9:30 or 9:35, I tell Dan about this. And he says, what do you want to lead with? And I'm thinking, well, if we can, validate this. So then Dan runs in 5 to 10, literally finds the audio. So awesome job, Dan.
Thank you. I love that you're taking them behind the scenes there, because it really ties into everything you do with the Kale Show. And then you take what you're doing there, spurn it off here, and taking people behind the scenes. It's how it's kind of developed with us is, around 9 o'clock, we'll have a quick meeting. We'll talk about what we want to lead with, and then I'll go find some colorful audio to provide you with. And we go from there. It's been fantastic working with you, Dawn.
Well, thank you. I feel back at you. But I feel like I have to say this too, because to me, this is, for me personally, this is a developing story that if I had this at 8 o'clock, I don't care if Sean Farish was here,
move out of the way.
Right. At the moment that I had this, I think it's too critical, too important, that when something as significant as this is found, you got to just interrupt everything and say it. So in that regard, I feel terrible that I really didn't know this court proceeding happened Thursday, September 26th.
Crazy.
And it's
a testament to the media bias.
Well, that's just it. In my view, so we were dealing with a lot locally, a lot breaking, a lot happening. And that's what happens. That it's so important, and it's a reminder to me personally. I always have to look back. Thursday, something breaks Thursday afternoon, then into Friday. You see what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, they bury it. And you don't find it. This is significant, and we should be talking about this and highlighting it. But you're right, Dan. It's a perfect example of media bias. So with all of that, I will tell you that let's play this. Do we have time to play this? So this is who is he again? I don't even, the old millennial he's called on TikTok, I think. I don't hear you. So this is, let's go to this. This is where Elon Musk had tweeted this out just within the past, I think, just recently.
We should be breaking, actually.
We are. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
But you heard the core of this, but this is somebody reacting who said he was in the court.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
saying, hold on. Can you find me one other time in history where the person who took the loan was able to call the bank that they took the loan from, and then that bank showed up and said, we weren't defrauded? And the lawyers spent like 2 hours trying to find one little instance where it happened. But then the judges said, okay, let's try something else. They said, hey, have you ever prosecuted someone for lying about the value of a property when it resulted in the entire loan being paid back with interest? And again, they gave them like 2 hours to try to explain their case, and they still couldn't produce a single case where that had happened. And then the judges said, hey, you know what? We'll give you another shot. They said, have you ever seen an attorney general prosecute a case where there was no damage to the public, there was no damage to the person you said was defrauded, and there was no actual malice committed by the person who took the loan? And then they took another 6 hours on that one. And by the end of it, the judges were like, so you don't have any instance of that happening? And then by the time they were done, the judges were like,
this is significant.
I don't even know if this is a case that should have been brought. And they said, look, y'all might need to be sanctioned for bringing this case in a malicious manner.
So this is the oldest millennial, and this is the one that Elon Musk had retweeted. Kudos to him as he's witnessing this and puts it in perspective, the timeline that the 5 panel of justices giving them the opportunity to come back over and over to make their case. And that as well gives it context so you can judge for yourself. Do you believe that how they're going to rule? And could this be the October surprise vindication and victory for Donald J. Trump? And how would that then impact maybe right before, a week or so before the November 5th election? Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. I do have a great guest that you want to hear from, local Republican. We'll talk to her coming up. But first, you know what I got to talk about? A little bit of magic. Because when it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic, building a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and such care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes, storage solutions, they get the job done fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without the hassle. Trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades. Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation. KitchenMagic.com. Do this. KitchenMagic.com. Let's cook up something extraordinary. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, it's Rich Izzioli. You know that Dr. Mike Veneri is my friend. He's my dentist. He's the master of dental implants. Did you also know that he hosts an annual Veterans Breakfast every year to thank our men and women who have served our country? And he also hosts a free community shredding event so you can shred all those confidential, sensitive documents so nobody hacks your identity and tracks you down. Saturday, November 9th, Veterans Day weekend. Your opportunity to come out, say hello to our veterans, thank them, get some coffee, cake, donuts, even breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza, what's that? It's a real thing. And if you've been thinking thinking about getting that beautiful smile you deserve, reach out to my buddy Dr. Mike Veneria. For 12 years, he's been recognized among his peers as a master of dental implants. He's a guy who cares. He gives back to our veterans and our community, and he's my entire family's dentist. You won't be disappointed. So come out on Saturday, November 9th for the Veterans Event and free community shredding event. Go to veneriadental.com for more information. veneriadental.com. I'll see you Saturday, November 9th at his Cinnaminson office, veneriadental.com.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hey, Percy, we know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Remember to take us anywhere with the free Odyssey app.
Good morning. It's a big day and a busy day as we think about what's going on. You know, initially, when we had reached out to Senator Tracy Pinnacook, and you know, I've interviewed her before, Republican from our region, we wanted to talk more about a bill offering bonuses for global war on terror veterans. And she's a veteran, and you certainly have heard me interview Senator Pinnacook before. But I'll begin actually with something that's brand new before we get to the veterans issue, and that is combating AI-generated these deep fakes. Yeah, involving minors, which is like sicko. And so this is thanks to our own Tracy Pinnacook. So great to have you here. Thanks for being here this morning again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so tell us about it. You sponsored this legislation, and as well as other colleagues, and in a bipartisan manner, to combat these deep fake images. And this is really sick, what they do, right?
It is truly sick. And I have to tell you, it was bipartisan, and I'm very proud of that. I worked with my colleagues across the aisle, Senator Dillon and Senator Foscola. And I got to tell you, I had no idea when we first started down this artificial intelligence road of what you could do with artificial intelligence. Now I know you can barely tell the difference between a real image and a fake image. So what Senate Bill 1213 does is it makes it illegal to artificially produce child sexual abuse material as well as adult material with a non-consenting adult. And why is this important? Because right now we do not have a law on the books that prohibits this from happening. Technology advances way faster than our legislature, but we were able to get this bill through, and we're hoping the governor will sign it this coming week.
And so, first of all, it's astounding that there is no such law. But, you know, Senator and Tracy, I guess in many ways it's an example of how our legislatures, I mean, here in Pennsylvania, across the nation, and even nationally, you know, federally in Congress, need to look at things like you're looking at and make sure that we have these laws because of the advances in technology.
Absolutely. And actually, artificial intelligence is advancing at such a rate that we're always going to be playing catch up. But the key there is we have to get something on the books. We can always modify it later, but we have to have these protections in place. There was a situation in Lancaster, in the Lancaster County Day School, where a student took the pictures of the tennis team, and he used artificial intelligence to put those faces on mature adult bodies. And for a 13-year-old girl, that's tough when all your classmates
Yes.
have seen an image of you, but it's not really you, but it's still damaging. And it's a tough time to be a teenager, and social media doesn't help, and that definitely doesn't help. So putting some safeguards on this is important. It's an important first step. We're also looking at a labeling bill where anything produced using artificial intelligence would have to be labeled. So if you're reading a book and it's produced by artificial intelligence, the author is artificial intelligence. It's not someone slapping their name on the book. Same with music, same with movies. And then we also have a bill that would look at protecting election integrity by not allowing someone's image or voice to be used and manipulated through artificial intelligence for a misrepresentation advertisement or photograph or comment or speech, because it's important. It could sway an election, and it's just not right.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you have so many committee assignments. We're continuing the conversation with State Senator Tracy Pennicook, who, of course, represents parts of Berks County, Montgomery counties, and you're the chair, actually, of the Communications and Technology Committee, but also Veterans Affairs, Emergency Preparedness, and so many others, consumer protections. So you're ambitious. You're working hard, and clearly. Which is you're no stranger.
I do have a lot of committees.
But you're also a United States veteran, and you've served our country, and we want to thank you for your service. And that's why initially, Tracy, that's why we saw this, Dan Borowski and I saw that you were really looking at this bill offering bonuses for global war on terror veterans. Can you take us through that idea? And it got through committee. Has this fully passed, or is it still going through?
It has not.
Okay.
It has gotten through committee. It's been tabled. And what this would do is it would give a $500 bonus to a veteran who served during the period of the global war on terrorism, which is post 9/11 to today, but didn't leave the country or didn't see combat, and then $1,000 to a veteran that served overseas in Iraq, Afghanistan, Djibouti, and some of our other hot spots in the world. It's important because we've done this for other time periods as well. Just a small token of appreciation. The difference, obviously, is, Desert Storm was 6 months. This was 20 years, so it's a very big price tag, and that's where I think we're going to have difficulty. It's very easy to say we support veterans, but when you add the dollar amount to it, people have a tendency to shy away from it. So I think it's a $70 million price tag. To do that, I think that number's a little bit high because you would not be paid for multiple tours of duty. You just get a flat rate. So I think that number might be a little bit high, but we would do a bond issuance for it. But I think it's important at the end of the day to take care of Pennsylvania veterans and to make sure that they're getting every advantage they can as they come back from, Afghanistan and Iraq, and they try to reintegrate. And a lot of these veterans are very young, and that's the kind of interesting part. They're 18, 19 when they deployed, and now they're in their 20s or early 30s. So I think it's a nice way to show our appreciation. Pennsylvania's got a strong history of showing appreciation for our veterans, and I just think this is just another period of time, of wartime, that we can show appreciation for those veterans.
I know that you also are somebody one of the committee assignments is emergency preparedness. So I know that we have many from Pennsylvania, from New Jersey, from across our area who've headed to help out with the devastation and those storm victims in the aftermath of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. I just wonder, Senator Pennicook, if you could share with us some of the perspective, because you're not only a veteran, but you also are an expert in emergency preparedness as far as how we here in Pennsylvania help other states and how we prepare for these things. Because I think clearly, a state like Florida is the best example of being prepared for a hurricane. Obviously, there's a lot of experience. We see some southern states this is historic as the first storm that struck. It was weird the way that it came through, and then the flooding and the mudslides and all of that. but just your reaction.
So Pennsylvania, I think, does a great job of being prepared with our PEMA, which is our Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. I think that's really important. But I think for the southern states, it was so important to leave. Nothing is worth losing your life over. And those that couldn't leave and that stayed behind, especially in Asheville, North Carolina, I mean, it was just so tragic. And we in Pennsylvania can provide support with our Chinooks and Black Hawk units and dropping, food and water and medicines to those in really rural areas. And I've heard that those areas are now cutting out LZs for helicopters to get in there. I think our federal government was very slow to provide support. And in the interim, Christian groups like Samaritan's Purse stepped up, private helicopter pilots stepped up, a lot of private citizens stepped up, which I think is wonderful. But I think as individuals, we need to have that couple of days of food storage, a big jug of water prepared. And when it gets bad like that, block your doors with sandbags, be prepared. And have batteries for your flashlight. Have those solar rechargers for your phones. And don't take unnecessary risks. Don't go out in the storm. Don't go out in your car. That just puts you at more risk.
Yeah.
But I think Pennsylvania overall does a great job. And we also do a great job of taking care of one another. And we also do a great job of taking care of other states. So we now have helicopter units deployed down, and I think that's so critical. We have assets that we need to deploy to help other states. That's what we should be doing every time there's an emergency.
Yes. I know that when we speak about being prepared and prevention, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month for October. Why in particular is this an important issue for you?
So this is really an important issue for me because I have a family history of breast cancer. My mom, my grandmother, and both of my aunts have had breast cancer. So when Act 1 came up with the pro tem Senator Ward and Devlin Robinson, it makes good sense. We are the number one, first of its kind in the nation, first state to say, look, if you are genetically predisposed or have a family history of breast cancer or a few other types of cancer, you are not going to pay for an MRI, advanced MRI. You're not going to pay for an ultrasound. You're not going to pay for genetic testing or genetic counseling because we want to catch breast cancer early because the survivability, if you catch it early, you can live a long and fruitful life. That is so important. And people say, oh, somebody's got to pay for it. Well, the reality is it's so much cheaper for an insurance company to get it early and nip it in the bud versus going to stage 2, 3, or 4. So for them, it's a win-win to catch this early. So we try to promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We've partnered with local YMCAs in my district, and we have tables of information out on breast cancer. We partnered with the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition, and self-detection is most important. Do your monthly exam. Get a mammogram every year. If you don't know where to go, get online with the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition. They will find where you can get a mammogram. If you don't have insurance, they will help you with that. If you don't have a ride, they will help you with that. If you need resources to pay for medications, they will help you with that and so much more. So we just want everyone to be aware. We want to save a lot of Pennsylvania women's lives by letting them know early detection is key. You can survive breast cancer and you can go on to live a very long and fruitful life.
Senator Tracy Pennicook, thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I think it's important sometimes because we talk about national politics or we talk about what's divisive and the bureaucracy and everything you've profiled, all of this legislation, everything you're working on is at the state level here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Just shows that there are elected officials who are working together in a bipartisan way and getting things done and doing the job. So we really appreciate you and your military service.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Senator Tracy Pennicook. Thank you. And by the way, this is all month as far as the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition that Senator Pennicook, that she's a part of, kicking this off. So at local YMCAs, I should point out to you, and she mentioned YMCAs, I looked it up. They're in Upper Perkiomen Valley, across Pottstown, Spring Valley, that's the Royersford area, and then Boyertown. And so you can certainly look up her site, look up the sites if you want online information, but if you want to go in person, those in particular are the YMCAs, some of them that you can check in with. They have, so for the entire month, every day, they have volunteers at tables when you come into the Y, giving out all of that information, giving you advice. But it's a huge issue, and I will tell you, my mom, grandmother, and great-grandmother all were breast cancer survivors, and it was due to, even going back in the day, they all, had, my gram, actually, she would say, oh, my headlights are crooked. She did have one breast removed, and she was such a hoot about it, but she talked about it, which is unusual. A lot of families going back generations don't talk about this stuff, and that's another piece of it. Just have the conversation. If you had a lumpectomy or somebody did, talk about it through the generations so that they are aware that it runs in your family. And for me, my sister, we always go for those, for those mammograms and the yearly, because it's important. So
yeah. I just want to say a prayer, too, for commenter Manglemush. YouTube.com/@12WPHT says his mother has breast cancer. She's having surgery on Tuesday.
On Tuesday?
Yeah.
I will say these, especially locally, these doctors here are so amazing, but it's one of, even if you go to the surgical stage, they are so skilled now at getting that out. That happened to my mom, actually, and she had survived that. Obviously, with my grandmother, she as well had a breast removed, but she lived, I think that was like in my grand's maybe her 40s, and she lived till she was nearly 90. So that's the beautiful piece of that. But we'll pray for you. All right, we'll get back to it. We have so much developing, so much breaking. 855-839-1210 if you want to sound off. Be right back.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
When was the last time you watched your home movies? Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Just enjoying some of your reaction. I get a lot of you text me. I get the texts, I get the DMs. We see the reaction on the YouTube feed and social media. So thank you for that. To the lead story as to, do you think that case that is now up to an appellate panel of judges, an appellate court in New York, do you think that is actually the October surprise that has been rumored? We heard the rumblings, but is that really it? I believe the answer is yes. 855-839-1210. Let's get to, is this Walt in Conshohocken? Hey, Walt.
Hi. Well, yeah, you know what story they're burying? The story that Trump never paid Giuliani the $2 million he owes Giuliani for legal work. And now because of the Shea Moss case, they're chasing after Giuliani for the money. And now he's got to go to Trump to get that $2 million to pass over to Shea Moss and Ruby Freeman. Isn't that great?
Well, I'm looking up a story right now that, Rudy Giuliani himself, I know that I think his daughter was speaking out, but Giuliani, I think, has a little bit of a different version of that. So even the New York Magazine and some other, but even, I'll give them credit. New York Magazine is covering this within the past day, and they say, well, Trump allegedly owes Giuliani. So, I don't know what the pay scale is or how that looks, because have you paid an attorney before? Are you an attorney, Walt? Are you an attorney?
No,
yes or no?
No, I am not.
Have you ever paid an attorney? Have you ever paid an attorney in a case?
Yes.
Okay. So generally speaking, with these attorneys, they have a billing that you pay things in advance. You have retainers, but then it's a situation where you get the billings. And so to say, well, he owed this bill as if it's your grocery bill, you would acknowledge it is a little different. I mean, I'm looking at publications that you might say are left-leaning publications, and I would say that
it's not like he has a history of stiffing people, right?
Well, in this case, I will say to you that you're talking about Rudy Giuliani. And so in this case, I'm looking at it, and Giuliani, and I'm just going to mute him for a second because I didn't interrupt you. I don't interrupt people. I don't do that. And so I'm polite. I'll have the conversation. And so and by the way, the legal bill involving Rudy Giuliani, what happens now? Because Giuliani is another one of those Trump associates who in all of these appeals cases, remember, Giuliani himself has had, he has said that he was persecuted. He has said that the government has been weaponized against him. So is he due money back? And so for Giuliani, it has been reported, I've reported this, that he had said he was low in cash and that there were unpaid legal fees. So what does that fee schedule look like? I don't have that information. However, I will tell you that the latest news was that Giuliani himself was trying to explain this. Okay. So I would think if somebody, even a friend, if I have in writing that they owe me millions of dollars, I'm going to say, yeah, you got to pay up. That's not what's happening here. And even New York Magazine, which we know is not right-leaning, is very careful on the way they're wording this, that allegedly Trump owes him $2 million. So what's up with that? So I'll just go with the wisdom of Rich Zioli always says, the lawyers always win. Giuliani is going to get paid. He knows he's going to get paid, okay? So that's where that sits. So, but I will take your call. I always will. Just please, I won't interrupt you. Don't you interrupt
He's still
me.
there. I just want to make a comment while
Okay.
you're there, Walt. Just don't misrepresent your point when you call into our screeners. We're happy to address this point, even if you just straight up told us you wanted to go to Giuliani. So next time, just please be honest when you call us.
Yeah, because I'll still take it, right? I'll always. That's the other shows might not. I will, because that's just it.
Honestly, I can't tell you a show on our station that wouldn't take it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't speak for everybody. I'm just saying. So now it's 10:55. Do I have to take?
Yeah,
can
we
I?
gotta
Okay.
get to our guest, yeah.
So thank you for that.
Am I still on mute?
No, you're not. You're there. I thought you left.
Yeah. Why would anyone in their right mind believe a word that Giuliani says? The only person that lies more than him is Trump.
Are you okay? Are you having a bad Friday? Are you okay?
You're a really bad turd shiner for Trump. I mean, it really is pathetic.
All right, we got to go to our guest.
Yeah.
I would like to
He's.
continue.
You know what? So
turd shiner. I like that.
He literally said turd shiner. We are 9-year-olds. That's what we are.
You're a turd shiner.
You little you pookie turd. Like, come on, man.
We've been getting a rash of callers that call in misrepresenting their points, and
But
it's so
when you get
frustrating
frustrated, but see, here's the thing. When you get frustrated in an argument and you call somebody a turd shiner, what does that mean? What it means is you're not looking at the facts. What are you doing? Right? You're acting on emotion. You're getting emotional. And I'm just saying, first of all, it's a beautiful Friday. It's a beautiful day. So I hope, Walt and Conchi, if you're still listening, I hope you have a blessed day. I hope you call me back, but be honest with Jimmy and with Dan when you call. I'll still take your call, okay? I love a diversity of opinion. I'm very welcoming. I'm very patient to a fault, as you see. But here's the deal. When anybody does this, where they lead with emotion, don't take the bait. Because this is what happens. This breaks apart families, quite frankly. I'm not that person, okay? I'm respectful of Walt. Walt's frustrated. There's a lot of frustration. But I'm looking into the Giuliani thing, and I'll look more into it. Now that he asked, I will look into it, okay? And I'll have the answers for you on Monday. But the answer is remain calm, wish somebody a blessed day, and make sure that you make them think about the facts. Because think about all the emotion caused by the Letitia James case. The reason Walt very well may say Trump's a bad guy is because everything nasty Letitia James said. Well, Letitia James, now this is being appealed, all the truths are coming out, and the facts do not back up the case, apparently, that has been brought by Letitia James. So this all matters. I appreciate you, you little cutie pie. I love turd shiners too, I do. All right, 839-1210.
I do appreciate the PG insult, but
I know it's
when all you got left is insults. There's a reason for that.
The best thing that's like a Dana Carvey, you turd shiner.
You lint liquor.
We have a great guest, seriously, a wonderful guest. We're going to talk about small business. We'll talk about all the other stuff too, but Alfredo Ortiz, CEO of the Job Creators Network. So we just got job numbers, so we'll break it down with a little help from our friend. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. For years, I've talked about the health benefits of Rescue Natural Supplements after making their omega-3s a part of my daily routine. From supporting heart health to providing pain relief, they provide essential nutrients that impact our bodies in so many ways. Listen to this recent comment from Carol. She says triglycerides are at an all-time low and increase my well-being, while joint pains and muscle aches have decreased too. People like Carol have trusted Rescue with their health goals, and now it's your turn. For a limited time, use the code OMEGA50 for an exclusive buy one, get one free offer on any of the 7 Rescue Omega-3 choices. To get this special radio offer, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, or use the code online at res-q.com, res-q.com. Remember, use that code OMEGA50, OMEGA50, to buy one and get another Rescue Omega-3 absolutely free.
Medicare is making important changes in 2025. Independence Blue Cross can help. Our Medicare Advantage plans include premiums as low as $0, dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. The deadline to enroll is December 7th. Visit ibxmedicare.com/radio. Independence Blue Cross offers PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Independence Blue Cross PPO, HMO, POS, and HMO Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
They're pounding on the door. They're calling on the phone. They're threatening to close your business. If debt has your business on the brink, call Ray Reynolds, the godfather of credit. For over 40 years, Ray Reynolds has helped thousands of customers get millions in cash credit. It's no wonder why they call Ray the godfather of credit. He may even be able to raise your score above 750 before the end of the year. You could even get a new personal or business credit line up to $50,000 within days. If your credit needs a rebuild, call Ray Reynolds and receive a $1,000 cash credit card at closing. Raise your credit score to 750 or more. Call Ray Reynolds at 800-576-2295. 800-576-2295. Learn about Ray's secrets to success and how he can fix and improve your credit score to 750 or more. Call the godfather of credit rebuild, Ray Reynolds, at 800-576-2295. 800-576-2295.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
We know you're uncertain about psychics. Is this fortune teller you found on a forum legit?
Your one true love is...
me! That's why California Psychics reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us. We guarantee, if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
October is the perfect time for the Zeoli Army to storm the beaches of Cape May, so join me Friday, October 11th, 3 to 7 p.m. for our next live show at my happy place, the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. The bar will be open, your fellow Zeoli Army members will be there, and I want you to be there as well. Don't miss this live show. It's going to be a blast. All the live shows are always an amazing, amazing event. I'll see you Friday at the Grand Hotel.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Cracks in the labor market. Cracks in the labor market, yes. Broader economy continue to emerge. And that October jobs report released recently talking about jobs and the economy. Now, if you actually saw all the ads, and we can't miss them, right? We're being inundated with ads. I go to the mailbox, and half the mailbox is full of all of these huge glossy, postcards and whatnot, which say that, among other things, that Kamala Harris is a champion for small business people. Well, let's ask an expert, my next guest, who is president and CEO of the Job Creators Network, author of The Real Race Revolutionaries, and yes, co-host of Main Street Matters podcast, Alfredo Ortiz. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely, Don. Thanks for having me.
So I know that you had, and I'll ask Dan in our control room because I think something audio-wise got switched over, so I cannot hear Alfredo, but I know you're there. You had put out talking about the recent jobs reports showing cracks in the labor market, looking at the latest numbers. So I wonder if you could go through those with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you talk about all the inundation of all these ads from Kamala. I mean, it's nonstop TV, radio. I mean, there's a reason they're probably outspending Trump 2-1 because they're worried, right? Especially out there in Pennsylvania, they're definitely worried.
Yes.
And, she's trying to do her best impression of being this moderate small business champion. But I have to tell you, having done this for 12 years, really defending small business, she is not anything but a small business champion. If she were, or these past few years, she wouldn't have been spending these trillions of dollars, which led to record high inflation. And frankly, is looking very forward to eliminating and not renewing the Tax and Jobs Act, which has been so helpful during the Trump economy to make sure that our small businesses not only survive but really thrive. And she's doing everything but really helping us. And our small business polling is confirming that. But you talked about the jobs report, for example, that just came out last week.
Yes,
it looked real rosy, but when you break it down, more than 40% of those jobs that were actually created are in government or quasi-government healthcare and social services sectors. Manufacturing jobs have declined. 500,000 more Americans are actually unemployed versus this time last year. And the number of multiple job holders have reached a new high. I think something like 8.5 million Americans are now working 2 jobs just to try to make ends meet.
And so that's just it that I heard just recently when the CPI numbers and all the numbers came out, the job numbers were not good, the recent ones that came out. And yet you'll always hear people say, well, it's slightly better than it's a slightly better jobs report or a slightly better this or that. And I always equate it to saying, if I gained, a few pounds during the pandemic and I only gained a pound this week, I'm still up and I'm still gaining weight. Not good. You know what I mean? But the way that it's reported is, I think, misleading a lot.
It really is. Yes. It's so funny. I've been saying that all along about this inflation numbers because, it's funny because I like calling Kamala Harris and Biden, the arsonist, the firefighter arsonist, because they love taking credit for putting out the fires that they actually created. They're the ones that actually started with all this record spending that they did, trillions of dollars, really. And all we're really seeing is inflation. The rate of increase is slowing down. So to your point, you might not be gaining 5 pounds a month anymore, right? But you're still gaining 2 pounds a month. So it's really still not very healthy at all. And look, we all feel it, right? When we go to the grocery store, when we pay our rent checks or our mortgage checks, everything. Insurance, for example, is 50% higher now. I don't know about you, but where I live, I'm paying twice as much as I did just a few years ago for my car insurance. Rents are up, gasoline's up. Overall, cost of living is up 21%. I saw a number out there that says something like it costs the average American about $22,000 more just to have the same standard of living today that they did under the Trump administration.
So as far as small businesses go, and I saw that you had put out on social media, for example, during the latest debates, that millions of the owners of small businesses watching all of this very carefully. So after the most recent debates, after all of everything that's happening right now, what is your take as far as the outlook for people who obviously survived the pandemic? Because here in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, this, that we had among the toughest shutdowns. And I can't tell you how many people I know and how many businesses, small business owners just left. And so we're trying to rebuild. What is that outlook? What does that look like to you? So
look, from a small business perspective, I just pray honestly that Trump is victorious, next month, because if Kamala Harris and her goons, so to speak, that surround her actually win, I think it's just going to be very, very difficult for small business owners to really, not only thrive, but really barely even survive. Because like I said, she wants to get rid of the tax. She wants to let that expire, the Tax and Jobs Act. And everybody who's a small business owner benefited out there from what Trump did with the Tax and Jobs Act in two main big ways. One, there's a 20% tax deduction right at the top of their income, right, which helped them pay less taxes. Mm-hmm. But then there was one part, which is immediate expensing of investments into their business. That was huge for businesses, huge. And that's all going to go away. It's phasing out right now. And look, Kamala Harris hasn't done anything to try to stop that. She's been vice president for 4.5 years. If she's been such a champion for small businesses, where has she been for 3.5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, hasn't done anything. And she signed, literally trillions of dollars of increases in federal spending, which led to inflation. And she, and she's still signing off on literally with this administration, thousands and thousands of regulations, which have cost our small business owners over $2 trillion in higher expenses just to try to satisfy all those regulations. And so this is an administration that I frankly do not believe that they like small businesses. They don't believe in small businesses. As much as she says she's this champion of small businesses, she came up with this $50,000 tax deduction or whatever, which sounds great on the surface, Don, but it really isn't. Anybody who started a small business knows that. I mean, when I started a small business, it took me 3 years before I barely even saw a profit, right? That's pretty normal, right? There's an investment period. So that tax deduction isn't going to do us any good if you're not turning in a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if you really want to help small businesses, make the environment friendlier for small business, drop our taxes, drop the regulations, allow us to do what we do best, which is thrive in an economy, which is conducive for our small business owners. And every single policy that they put out there, this administration, Biden-Harris administration, the Democrats are all antithesis to what it takes to make small businesses thrive.
And I know that you've said, Alfredo, that in the nation that, 5 million of the small businesses, 5 million are Hispanic owned. You've said small businesses are responsible for 2/3 of the labor force. And so this drives the economy, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that, for example, former President Trump was here in Pennsylvania just this week again. And obviously courting the Hispanic vote, was in areas of Pennsylvania where there's a large Hispanic population, and trying to speak to exactly the individuals that you're talking about. How do you feel that he is performing as far as trying to put his case forward to get the job? And how do you think what's your evaluation of the way that the campaign is reaching out to especially Hispanic small business owners, but Hispanics in general as well?
Yeah. Well, look, I think, the fortunate thing about President Trump is that he actually has a record to talk about, right? A record of success. And small business owners, in particular Hispanic small business owners, they did extremely well under the Trump administration. They had, for example, record high wages, for example. They had home ownership that was record numbers, right? And so they know that the environment that Donald Trump created, basically presented an environment for them to be able to succeed, to put those American dreams really in place and to actually succeed in those. And these policies that now this administration, the current administration, the Biden-Harris administration put forth, really are not helping them at all. And the inflation, for example, is killing our small businesses, Hispanic small businesses in particular. The crime, actually, that is impacting a lot of these small businesses that are Hispanic small businesses coming from the border is really significant, and it's really impacting their businesses. And so they know that the Trump administration has a record that they can point to that they felt and they benefited from. And now they're looking at this administration going, wait a minute, we aren't better off than we were 4 years ago. In fact, our businesses are hurting. Our customers are hurting. I mean, when you look at their credit card debt overall for all of America, we're at record high credit card debt of $1.3 trillion. Savings rates are at half of what the average is, at 4% versus 8%. I mean, this is not a situation that's good for all of Americans. Hispanic businesses in particular are really, really are getting hit hard, because those customers that are, the customers of these Hispanic small businesses tend to be the customers that are being hit the hardest with this record high inflation, and are ones that are really, really suffering and barely making it from paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of those 8.5 million Americans that are working are Hispanic Americans that are working 2 jobs just to try to make ends meet. And so from a customer perspective and from the business perspective on a Hispanic front, things are just not good. And so they know it, they feel it, and they know that under Donald Trump, things were a lot better.
Well, speaking of that, I'd love to look back sometimes at some of the national archives and find the actual news releases and headlines. And so one clip that I found was a quote from you that's in our national archives in the official record. in our nation, and that is, quote, tax bill is a Christmas present Americans have been waiting for. This is dated December 13th, 2017. Can you take me back, because you were part of this pending tax cut legislation? I just want to remind people, of what was going on. And at this point, December 13th, 2017, take us back, if you would, just for a moment and remind us about that tax cut bill that you took part, right? You helped write this, or you authored it?
Yeah. Well, we were very instrumental on the small business portion in particular, because we knew, again, to the points you're making here, how important small businesses really were to our economy. And remember, this is pre-pandemic, and when we all felt, during the pandemic, how important small businesses were when our main streets were shut down. And so we knew that it was important to be able to give our small businesses these tax cuts. And so if you remember, good old Paul Ryan was out there talking about tax reforms in about June of that year. And we said, well, that's nice, but, tax reform could mean taxes up or taxes down. Well, we really want our taxes down, right? So we want tax cuts. And so Newt Gingrich and I were really pushing for tax cuts. And then in particular on the small business front, we wanted that, that deduction that I mentioned to happen, and also the small interest, the immediate expensing on investments in your business. Because we knew that was the way to really make sure that our small businesses continue to invest in their businesses. And frankly, through the success of those businesses, they would then take that and they would hire more people, right? And this is exactly what we expected, and even our polling said would happen, and did happen. With the savings that they were able to have, they invested back in their business, either through hiring more people, higher wages, better benefits, or frankly, just reinvesting back in their business for more equipment, for example, that they would make to make their business grow, which then would be able to hire more people. And so this was such an important part of the Trump economy, and why the success that we all felt was really the investment back into our small businesses and allowing them to actually thrive, not just survive, but really thrive by, again, creating that environment that helps them. We all, I think a lot of us, myself included, owned our small business. We know how hard it is to start a small business. And so what we need to do is create that environment. 97% of small businesses fail in the first year. Yeah. So it's not an easy thing to get into, right? And so we need to, as a government, as an economy, do everything possible that we can to make sure that we ensure further success of our small business, because 2/3 of new job growth is in the hands of our small businesses. And so the more we can do to help free up, like I said, the regulations, put more money in the pockets of our small business owners, the better off we are. But the thing is, these are real things that are being done, not this, placations basically being done by Kamala Harris that says, oh, we're going to be doing this, and, small business is so important to me. Again, where has she been for 3.5 years? Right? All of a sudden, I have to tell you, in being in this business for 12 years that I've been doing this, I can't even tell you the last time I've seen the small business administrator on TV talking about small business. You know what the only time I've seen her on TV about when her name came out? When they announced that they were putting her as the administrator of small business 3.5 years ago. And they said, look, we have now a woman as a small business administrator. That was the big news. And since then, I haven't seen anything or heard anything from her.
Yeah. Well, we want to hear more from you. Alfredo Ortiz, CEO of the Job Creators Network, thanks so much for being here and just putting it in a way that we can all understand all the math and how it works with a proven winner. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, Alfredo Ortiz. Hope you come back again. As I look back at this, and that's one of the things I talk about is a track record. And that's one of the things Alfredo said that I think is important when you look back at this plan. And I was just looking, this is National Archives. You can look this up yourself. But what was it? They actually doubled the standard deduction for that was doubled the child tax credit. They doubled it at the time. They eliminated the 15% tax bracket in favor of a expanded 12% rate. This was done. Okay, this is not just a proposal. And think about how quickly it was done. And that's what he was alluding to. Because remember Paul Ryan, who ended up retiring and going back to Wisconsin. And remember, it was more of the rhetoric. Trump, I think, butted heads with Ryan in part. Now you know why. Because he was like, no, we can do this now. Let's do this now. Move it. And really push this and proposed this, and it got through. Now, remember, the tax cuts, the so-called Trump tax cuts, they go away in early 2025. So we're months away from losing all of that. So in part of it, expanding that 12% rate, the media coverage at the time, I'll take you back to 2017. Oh, this is helping out the rich. It's a gift to the rich. But they were not telling the truth on the new 23% tax deduction for those small businesses. That was new for those people that had a business earning less than $500,000, $500,000 a year. The media said that one, it was a budget buster. Well, I ask you, was it a budget buster? No, it was not. And by the way, the tax cuts, they had to be for families earning $59,000 a year. That was who they targeted, and it cut in half the tax bill for the average family earning $75,000 a year. Does that sound like rich people? No. Dan, tell me what you said.
Need to hear about your upcoming trip.
Oh, yes. Speaking of, this is amazing. And I have so many of you have been asking, when are we returning to paradise? So please, yes, cue in the music. We got to return to Italy, this time the Italian Riviera, on a gastronomical event only Conservative Tours can deliver. And I'm right on this. So I want you to join me for 11 luxurious days with the professionals from Conservative Tours. I'm so excited about this. And if you joined me last spring in southern Italy, Conservative Tours, hands down, the best tour operator in all of Italy. And yes, they have an A+ rating with the BBB, the Better Business Bureau.
I want to remind listeners, too, I was talking to a friend who went last year and said one of the most underrated aspects of this entire trip is that you essentially get to live alongside Dawn Stensland for a multiple amount of days, and you get to see a side of Dawn that you don't necessarily get to see on air all the time. Yes.
But here's the thing. What happens in Italy stays in Italy.
We'll just leave it there. You got to go on the trip to find out what we're talking about.
Thank you for that, Dan. Thank you. Yeah, we had so much fun, and so many of you were, texting me, going, "I can't wait." So, what are we talking about? Portofino, Rapallo, Santa Margherita Ligure, Tuscany. Yes, Tuscany. I've always wanted to go to Tuscany, and also the brilliant Cinque Terre, $53.78. That's with your airfare. It includes airfare, $53.78. Dining events at wineries in Tuscany, visiting an authentic farm to see exactly how Parmesan cheese is crafted by hand. Call toll-free 888-733-9494. You can go to conservativetours.com, conservativetours.com. The hidden Italian villages you've never seen, like Giacomo Puccini, San Gimignano, the Leaning Tower of Pisa that we've all heard about, Michelangelo's Florence and Milan, concluding on the Lakes region with Bellagio, Orta, and Isola Bella. Join me next spring in Italy. I can't wait. And let me know, call in, let me know when you've booked it too so we can chat about it. But I want to see you next spring in Italy. See you in Cinque Terre. conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
A Camden County pizza joint has its delivery drivers held up at gunpoint by scheming customers twice in as many weeks. The The Flyers' top picks from each of the last 2 drafts make their debuts tonight in Vancouver. Meanwhile, tonight in Minnesota, Sixers free agent signing Paul George gets his first preseason action.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. I want to talk about my friend, dentist, and board-certified prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz, and the Bentz Dental Group. With the cooler weather, it's a great time to stop procrastinating. Take care of your dental health. Plus, now's the best time to see a prosthodontist, especially to help with complications as we get older and help prevent major problems. Get the smile you really want. Take control of your oral health. Call the Bentz Dental Group, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Hey, thank you to the hard work of law enforcement who apparently thwarted this terrorist attack against Americans on Election Day. This is an Afghan national, learning new details on it, but he was accused, I think I reported this a week ago or so, but he was accused of plotting this ISIS-style Election Day terror attack in the United States of America, and some say worked for the CIA in Afghanistan. Others say no, he was never an employee, but came here to this country and was 27 years old with a wife and a child. Nasir Tweedy arrested in Oklahoma over this alleged terror plot, and then had gotten one-way tickets, had sold all of the family assets, was going to head back to Afghanistan after he allegedly was going to carry out this attack on November 5th. So it's disturbing. It's it rattles many, but this was a situation where he was somebody who came, I guess, under the cloak that he was, because this was right in 2021. And in the aftermath of what happened in Afghanistan, had reportedly worked in some capacity for the CIA, but now that's being denied. So just wanted to update you that, because we can see the charging documents and what they're saying. But it's terrifying to think about who may have come here under that kind of cloak or lie, but as well then all of those others who are plotting attacks. And this during a time when law enforcement across the board, federal, statewide, local, when law enforcement is stretched thin. So that's terrifying. And I wonder how they actually caught him, because supposedly he was ordering all these high-powered rifles. And I just wonder if it was a neighbor who saw all these shipments come in, because remember, we've heard that before, even locally. People, all of a sudden, they're getting all these strange shipments and they're coming to the house. And so was it a delivery person? Was it a neighbor who said something's not right? It's also significant in what we're learning, how he was paid. And part of this, you hear locally even some of the protesters, the pro-Palestinian protesters, and they said, oh, we've been donating to these charities, right, in certain Middle Eastern places. Well, it turns out that that's how this guy, who's an accused, terrorist, that's how he was paid, that they funnel the money through these alleged charities and nonprofits, which are not at all a charity, don't go to the causes they say in the Middle East, but rather go to the terrorists. So I think those are some significant, factoids. I want to give you the facts. I want to give you what's in these documents that we're getting. Want to switch gears here as we think about locally, and we always tell you when there's a campaign. This week, Liz Cheney and 3 other women were here was in the Keswick, right? In Glenside, they were campaigning for Vice President Kamala Harris and meeting with what they called a chat with women. We saw former President Trump here in Pennsylvania. We've talked a lot about that this week. So the Democrats are bringing out the biggity bigs, and one of them is former President Barack Obama was just here yesterday. So Dan, I know you have a plethora of audio, not just with former President Obama who was here and targeting. I think he seems to be speaking in particular to African American men, young men, who we see maybe either staying at home or maybe voting for Trump. So, and you also have some reaction from different individuals. You want to take us through it?
Yeah, so what we have some audio from is Black Voters for Harris event in East Liberty that I think has kind of flown under the radar compared to the mantle speech that, Obama gave yesterday that's being covered by the, legacy media and such. So we'll get into that in a second. But first I want to, panic has stricken. You hear it in Obama's voice when we're going to play back what he says to Black voters about their lack of support for Kamala. But also today on MSNBC, Lauren Leader appeared. A thought leader is how she bills herself a lot of times.
She's a thought leader.
Yeah, it's so corny. Whoever bills himself as a thought leader already is down a couple of notches in my book. But she appeared on MSNBC and had some comments about Republicans, sexism, and takes aim at white women for supporting Trump. Take a listen.
I mean, the gender gap has been growing for years, right? This is not new to this election cycle. Like, we've seen this for the last decade, that Democrats and independents have skewed more female and Republicans have skewed more male. Trump accelerated that, right? And, put that trend on steroids. And then the questions that we were asking over the last few years was he going to try to expand the tent, try to expand his base and his outreach to women? I mean, the answer was clearly no. J.D. Vance was a very clear statement. They've been very comfortable with the ways in which they've alienated, for instance, suburban women who were so the key to their very consistent losses, by the way, since 2016, right? Because as Mara said, women are more likely to turn out to vote. That's why Joe Biden won Pennsylvania, even though there was a Republican advantage. Biden turned out in greater numbers. They flipped Pennsylvania for Joe. That's absolutely what has to happen this time. Still, I do worry, and I sort of agree with Molly, although I don't know, maybe Harris should go on Joe Rogan.
Wait, just gotta stop it there. You think he'd actually want Harris on Joe Rogan? Yeah.
No.
I think that, yeah, come on.
Absolutely.
Harris should
maybe
go
she'd
on Joe Rogan.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Maybe she'd toke with Rogan. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be fun. Yeah, she had a beer with Colbert, toke with Rogan, like Elon, yeah. Here's some more.
Should go on Joe Rogan. I do worry because I think, first of all, on the white women, Trump has lost no ground since 2016 with white women. We're still seeing 50% of white women supporting him, which I know drives a lot of Democratic women nuts because it's so hard to wrap our heads around. But on the, with black men in Michigan, like, she has to win them. The margins are so thin that if she can't win over, and that's why I was so happy to hear Barack Obama say that last night. I mean, we've all been seeing this under the surface. They have to go after those voters. The question is, can you convince people if the base is sexism?
If the base is sexism.
Yeah, can you convince voters if their base is sexist?
Excuse me, Cabana Boy. Can you get me a triple venti non-fat latte?
Be right back there,
with a shot of cocoa while I talk like this, because that's how I order my venti latte thingamajiggy. Which I don't even go to those places, so I don't even know the lingo.
Can you write thought leader on the cup and call me by thought leader?
Wow. Anybody who talks like that, but it's a sexism. And so going to the emotion of it, right? Telling young women, just saying, hey, don't look at that. Anybody who's, first of all, number one, claims they're a thought leader, and they say it like that, and then on top of it, they tell you not to think. That's a troublesome combo. I think we can put a little red flag on that.
So from her bio on her website, Lauren Leader is a thought leader and advisor who has devoted her career to advancing gender equality in American democracy.
Gender equality. Yeah, but seriously, she's not giving any facts that I'm hearing. She's just talking like this, and she's saying she's a thought leader, but you don't think, young woman, because she's going to think for you. And you just trust her that these other folks, they are sexist and they are horrible, monster, dangerous to democracy, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, what's your basis? Let's look at the facts. Let's read the actual policy. And it's really the theme of today, Dan, if I think about it, because what we have going on now is that when you look at the facts and you don't believe all the stuff on social media and you don't believe all the influencers, but you just look at the facts, things like, the law or things, like policy that was in Trump's administration, it's all a proven winner. And that's just it. I'm trying to I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. I don't go to that because, number one, it's low-hanging fruit. It's easy, makes our jobs easier. We don't have to look through court records and all that good stuff, right? And so I'm just trying to bring you the facts, not all of the other stuff, but think about the truth, the actual policy. That's what matters, because that policy makes a difference. As my last guest has said, as Alfredo Ortiz said, that those policies are proven winners that make a huge difference in our lives, the lives of our children and grandchildren. 855-839-1210, the number to call. So my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles feature the latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands like Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and so much more. It's so funny. I'll be somewhere. The other day I was in the grocery store and somebody said, Dawn, say Alfa Romeo. It's just a hoot. we were at the Don Jr. event, was that a couple weeks ago, and somebody said, Dawn, say Maserati. So you know what? Hey, if you're driving around in one of these Piazza vehicles, God bless you. You've worked for it, you've earned it, and so now it's time. You go get it. And you're my role model right now, right? I'm still in the minivan stage. The kids are still in school, but someday. Innovative features. They have such beautiful, sleek new designs, and these innovative features featured and really powered by the latest in technology. Thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available across Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey in their dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles, they do stand out, don't they? Visit PiazzaPremiumAutos.com, Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
After a chilly start this morning, a warmer air mass works its way into the Delaware Valley today. Plenty of sunshine with a high temperature back near average at 71. For tonight, not as cold, mostly clear with a low of around 50 for the city, cooler in the suburbs. And a warm day on Saturday with a mix of sun and clouds, high 76.
Roofing or siding issues? Don't wait. Call Emmons Roofing and Siding.
We provide comprehensive roofing and siding services with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. And our warranties ensure peace of mind for you and your family.
Protect your home with the best warranties available in the industry.
Call Emmons at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
I mean, the gender gap has been growing for years, right? This is not new to this election cycle. Like, we've seen this for the last decade.
Totally leave room for Craig.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice?
This is my voice.
No, it's not. I heard you talking a minute ago. I know you don't talk like that.
Neither do you, because nobody actually talks like this. You choose to talk like this, and today I chose to talk like this. Pretty annoying, isn't it?
Dan, I just love you more every day.
It's a great show. I don't know if you ever watched Louder Milk, now on Netflix. Ron Livingston.
You know, Larry loves this show, my husband, and so...
It doesn't surprise me.
And so, yeah, so he played one day, and maybe that was living, rent-free in my head when I heard the clips you were playing, but that was perfect, that way that they speak.
It's so annoying.
Thought later.
No, it's not. I heard you talking a minute ago. I know you don't talk like that.
It's hysterical. So do you want to get to Obama here a little bit? So this is former President Barack Obama. He is let's just say, he is the superstar. I'm surprised. Democrats try to change the rules. I'm actually surprised they didn't just try to change the rule and figure out a way that he could run for president again, right? Because he is the superstar, and they all know it. But the truth is, we saw him go out for Hillary, and people came out to see him. Everybody in droves. I remember he was in the art museum area, and I tried to bring my sons. Just whenever somebody's in town, I do, especially when they were little. Try to introduce them. Say this is the president, or this is the former president, whatever. So it was jam packed. So he is a superstar. But here's the thing: even though people might flock to see Obama, I don't know how that translates, and that's the real question.
It's sad that he gets such high turnouts while she's just struggling, allegedly bussing people around to events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Obama speaking to East Liberty, Pennsylvania, black voters for Harris event. Take a listen, and CNN's been covering this as well.
Makes me think, I'm speaking to men directly. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for them. The women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting.
I think it's falling on deaf ears to the sense that do you really think, Dawn, that this is happening out here, that it's because of a lack of black men thinking that a woman can be president is the reason why black men aren't supporting Kamala, or do you just think it's that she's a bad candidate all around?
I think that, even remember Elon Musk. Let's go to, and I know that people, kind of joke that he's an African-American who's for Trump. But he was born in Africa, so that's cute. But remember that Elon Musk he stood in line famously, loved Obama. And that's when the Democrats loved Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk, remember, he's a guy, Tesla, right? Electric vehicles and looking at technology and developing technology that's more efficient and that pollutes less, right? And so there was Elon Musk, who was he was a huge Obama supporter, stood in line, wanted his autograph, for crying out loud. So Elon Musk is somebody who I think I would say my sons, because I'm not in a household where I would say nasty things about somebody just because they're a Democrat. I think I can say that I look at the good qualities of different leaders who I think are important in our time. And so would my sons want to have a handshake with or see up close and personal a former President Barack Obama? Yes, sure. Elon Musk was a fan of his and liked a lot about Barack Obama. So did many Americans, obviously, because he was elected not once but twice, right? But the thing is, Barack Obama is not running for president, and that's the problem. Does he raise the energy level? I guess when he's here. But I think people, as far as this goes, have made up their minds, just like the one who talks like this. Like she said, and when you look
Neither
over,
do you, because nobody actually talks like this.
But think about that about consistently, when you look at, those women voters, you have a core of women voters who, what they care about? Peace and prosperity. That's what they're going to vote on. Boom. I mean, that's just it. And so I don't know that he wins over young men, or in particular young African-American men. Do you? I don't see it. I think people have made up their minds about Barack Obama, even though those same individuals would probably vote for him if he were the candidate running right now. Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't know if you disagree with me on that one, but 855-839-1210, effective can't, you know what he did? I'll tell you the one thing this is how I'll close. I'll say, you know what he reminded us of? A real candidate who knows how to campaign, unlike somebody who hides from everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you look at him, you go, oh yeah, he's so good. And then where's the other one he's talking about? Nowhere. And was he on a stage with the vice president? Right? She wasn't there with him, right? All right, enough. We'll take your thoughts, 855-839-1210. I got to take a break here, but I got to talk about Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. By now. I mean, they've done beautiful work in my home. I think the world and respect the Chapman family team, Mike and Mark Chapman. I trust them. Chapman is doing something really cool. This is for the rest of the month. They've been doing this throughout October. I've been telling you. So you got to send them a picture of your front door. They're giving you the chance to get $1,000 in credit toward a new front door. So send them a photo of your current front door right now. Everybody who sends in the photo, you're going to get the $500 in credit toward a new door. But one lucky person with the door most in need for a little TLC or maybe a lot of TLC, you're going to get $1,000 in credits. An updated front door obviously changes the curb appeal, changes the entire look of your home. It's like an instant makeover, increases the value, all of that. And they're going to work with you as far as their experienced project consultants. And this is whether it's a single door, double door, or the door like mine has the side lights on it. So just call them. Or you can text, okay? 610-431-8898, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Save during Martin Water Conditioning's 51st anniversary sale. Save up to $500 on select systems. Martin's is offering $100 off Kinetico's K5 reverse osmosis system. Improve your drinking water for less. And if you purchase a water softener, you may be eligible for a free Kinex salt monitor worth over $150. Special 18 and 48-month financing is available to those who qualify. These deals are mutually exclusive and end at the end of October. Visit martinwater.com.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system is tried and true, outperforming the market through the worst of economic times, as it did for crash-proof consumer Larry Kipp. In 2007, Mr. Kipp's crash-proof system earned 15.8% interest, outperforming the S&P. When the crash of '08 struck and the market dropped over 37%, his crash-proof system lost nothing. Mr. Kipp did not have to recover from the crash. His system credited 10.8% interest permanently to his account, as others tried to recoup what they already had.
People talking about all the money that they lost, and I could sit there and say, well, I didn't lose any. I knew that I couldn't lose principal, and so when the crash came, I knew my money was safe. I would say that there is a crash-proof retirement. I have proof of it.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This Saturday morning at 10, tune into a special edition of Your Radio Doctor with Dr. Mary Ann Ritchie. Get the latest news and information that affects your health and wellness. This Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
It's Friday, 61 degrees and sunny, heading up to 71 this weekend. I don't know if you're heading to the Zioli show to Cape May. What an incredible evening, because the sun will be out, 71 degrees. But if you stay in Cape May, my goodness, a summer-like weekend, because upper 77 degrees, bright sunny skies.
You heading down?
Beautiful. I cannot.
You got some football games to attend this weekend?
We have so much, and I wish I could. One of these. Is this the last one he said? I forget. If he said it, I hope it's not the last one.
I don't know for sure.
Because the other thing is, Wonderland, this is Gillian's, Gillian's, this is Sunday is the last day. So actually I should send Rich a little note. He and Bridget should take the kids over. You know what I mean? Just, it's such memories, and it's just, it makes me sad.
Did you make it down the shore at all this weekend? Or this summer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Many times.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Good for you, Dawn. Good for you.
You have to.
Well, I actually went down to Mulligan's a couple times. Fantastic times down there. Those Dom broadcasts.
Yes. And when we think about praying, they're my friends and family down there, but whether you do or you don't, in the storm aftermath of 6 southern states, you think about all of these deaths, the destruction, all of those helping out. The latest death toll I saw just in Florida, 16 people have died in Florida with Hurricane Milton, but they're calling this a 1,000-year rainfall event. 18 inches pounding down on some of those areas.
What a week.
Oh, my gosh.
You have October 7th. You have all these hurricane relief of Helene kicking off the week, then Milton rolling in. And last night, we have an Aurora Borealis over Philadelphia because of a solar storm.
Amazing.
Did you see that?
I didn't, and I was on the road. We had a football game last night, which I'm trying not to talk about too much. But,
Why is that?
those refs.
Yeah.
Dirty. We were like the moms,
Were you yelling from the bleachers?
Oh, yeah, totally.
You're one of those
like,
parents?
Dirty.
I love
dirty. They were. You should see. We're texting each other. I hope Greg Stocker is not listening, but, we have our mom group text of all of our kids, bruised and battered and dirty plays.
From football, yes.
Yeah, from football, not from politics. So there's that going on. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it?
I'm not,
I mean, we can have a couch session if we need.
We were respectful, but we did say dirty. I'm just saying dirty. Dirty plays, dirty refs. I'm just saying. Maybe they have eye problems.
One more thing before we get going. What's an update on the injury? How are we doing?
Oh, yeah. So my kid, I'm there because he can finally go to and just dress and sit on but the concussion, thanks for asking. Concussion protocols. So he didn't play So hopefully next week he can play.
Gotcha.
But you have to be careful with these concussions.
You have to be very careful. It's very important.
It's scary. And it's scary to see, and you think about back in the day, it's scary to see because how it affects him. He can't recall things, even reading and doing homework. And so that's something you got to take care of yourself.
This is your son already? With the concussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
So with David's concussion. But he recovers. He's healing, Dan. So it's good.
Yeah.
Today was a good day. Thanks for all the information. I mean, I think that the audio, and we'll continue to follow with the top story today at 10, and that was, just the reveal of these court records and what's being done. But we do expect, like I say, to get a court ruling from that appellate court in New York, as they indeed, that 5-judge panel is looking at this, and will they not only overturn the Engamoron case, overturn that case, but then even censure in some ways Letitia James and company. Wouldn't that be sweet? So maybe it is Red October after all, even though I'm sad about our Phillies.
Bitter.
I know.
That too this week. What a horrible week.
But I know. It's just, there's never a slow news day. But Dom Giordano, I know, has an incredible guest among others coming up on this Friday, October 11th. I hope you have a blessed Friday, a blessed weekend. Be safe if you're driving to Cape May to be with my dear friend Zioli. Give him a big hug for me if you would. Dom Giordano, I know you have an action-packed show.
Well, thanks, Dawn. Yes, Al Schmidt, who has a lot to do with who wins Pennsylvania, which means who is president. He's here at 1 o'clock, and this should be interesting. A lot of things. He's the Secretary of State. He gives all the guidance and more on voting. Also, the invasion of these Delco Trump offices. We hope to have the people on. These were women in their offices, climate activists going after them. Not one, not two, but 3 or 4 offices.
Perfect. Dom Giordano show is right now.
Is your car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait, you pay nothing on repairs? Ox gets it fixed? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance?
Yeah, you don't pay. Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies.
The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-224-8517. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care. 800